This is the Wild and Fearless podcast. Join Beck Fox, renowned business leader, coach, and avid adventurer, and go inside the hearts and minds of ordinary women doing extraordinary things. Wild and Fearless, women inspiring legendary dreams.
Hey legends, and welcome back to another wonderful Wild and Fearless show. We've got the amazing Hubertien Wishes, and she is just incredible. We'll call her Hube. I love you, Hube, so much. She is the most amazing woman. She's been adventuring all of her life, and she's turned it into a sport. She's an avid racer and a very, very committed competitor, and nothing seems to hold her back, from the extreme sports down to just chilling out in the mountains. So, Hube, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Beck. It is absolutely wonderful to be here.
Oh, it's so good, so good. And to those who can see Hube, she's in her leather pants and everything, but she actually turned up on her bike and in her full lycra gear, and she got changed especially for the show. Yep, except for the bike. She's still got her bike shoes on, which is really, really cool. So I want to sort of take the listeners back to, we've been talking just a few minutes, and taking them back to where your love of adventure and the outdoors started, Hube.
I think as every child, you play outdoors. But I remember very vividly when I was, say, primary school age, I'm from Holland originally, that we would holiday over in England, and standing on a hilltop and looking at this the vast expanse and the wind, and I felt like singing. It was such a beautiful experience, and I've had that experience again. You feel small but overwhelmed, and at the same time really part of that environment. And I think most people have it, but for some people that urge and that attraction is a bit stronger than for others. So that is one of the real pointed memories that I have about that real strong draw to the outdoors.
Mm-hmm. And you were brought up in Holland, weren't you? And
Yes.
were you brought up in the city or regional areas? What sort of space were you?
In a forestry type of area, but I spent my very early childhood in Tanzania. So playing with the neighbor kids and all that. So maybe that is a little bit part why I love the subtropics as well.
Yeah.
And when I started traveling, my mom thought, we'll never see her back. She will land somewhere. And she was very right about that.
Oh, that's fantastic. You said that you also when you were a very young child, you got into horse riding. And
yes,
competitively.
Well, it was I think every primary school's girl dream. Well, every to ride horses, and my dream came true. And I had my own pony. The poor thing, it was a gelding called Sheila.
Oh no, classic.
But and I loved it, and I loved the improvement of things that you could do with a horse and the relationship with a horse. And Sheila wasn't really much of a jumper, but we did dressage together, and the balance and the relationship with the horse, and it was just really, really very nice to do that. And yeah, the improvement that you can make with horse. And then I upgraded to a bigger horse, a very big horse.
A very big horse.
And it was really good fun too. But somehow I stopped that because I started doing other things. But I still have got everything. I still have got a saddle and bridles and all that type of stuff. I just don't have the horse.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. And the love for competition started there, did it? Or was it you obviously had great family time in open spaces and on mountains, and you fell in love with the mountains there, which is wonderful. And that space and that sense of awe and that nature connection obviously was very innate in you.
Yeah, my parents both had an agricultural education background. So mum was one of the first agricultural engineers. My dad, he ventured into other things. But so there was that love. And sometimes it was a little bit arduous because you would go on holidays for family walks and they would stop at every 5 meters to say, "Oh, Anton, do you know what that plant is?" And all that. And of course,
you're just like, "Come on, let's climb this mountain. Let's get moving." She got so much energy. I can imagine that as a kid. You'd have been like, "Come on, Mum and Dad, don't stop. It's boring. Keep going. Keep going."
So, but that was that was good. Yeah.
So how's it transformed? Because I've been watching you now for nearly 10 years on Facebook and, as a friend as well. And the adventures you get up to and the races that you do are just, extreme. They really are, like really long running, kayaking, bike, cycling. You've done a lot of charity work, which is fantastic. The recent one being the Everest or Nepal campaign.
Yes,
that was
incredible.
Was the
summer challenge. That was so funny. So it is. At the moment I live in New Zealand, and my partner Ken last year did the summit challenge. It's for the Himalayan Trust, and it's 8,000 vertical meters during the month. And after half a glass of wine, I said to him, well, we were signing up. So you finish that halfway the month. That is not really a challenge. And then we found a Triple Crown, which is 25 kilometers vertical during the month. And of course, to fit that also in with Ken's work. And so that was and I've got a bit of an injury, so I couldn't really do the running. But we did it all on a bicycle, so I developed a bit of extra butt muscle and during that month. And we live on a mountain, so we just went up and down, and I actually really improved my skills cornering down the mountain.
On the slippery road too, I imagine. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I've got two bikes. I've got a gravel bike and a normal road bike. So when it's a bit slippery, I rather take the gravel bike. But it's a bit heavier, so it's a bit harder to get up the hill. But those sorts of things are just really very good. And raising funds for a good purpose for the poor Sherpa Nepalese community. Yeah, very worthwhile.
Yeah, I know you got a lot of support, and so did Ken, which is really great. And we loved watching your journey, and especially you two pitting each other off. But the CrossFit training that you do is quite amazing. You're running, kayaking. You just started kayaking now. Ken's introduced you to
Zero talent, but I know that if you're got average talent, or if you just keep at it, you will improve. And learning from the best, that helps. That helps too. Yeah. Hopefully. Yeah.
Let's talk about your running. When did you first fall in love with running, and when did you start? I know it wasn't in your early years.
When I stopped. At high school we would warm up with a run, and I would always end up at the front, and the other girls would go, it's so hard. And I would go well, I'm the nerd here, But it was just because it was easy for me. I never really realized it was easy for me. And I always would run if there was a team to run for. And I thought, if you do go 7 times around the block over a period of 14 days, that is as good as it gets in terms of training. And then you're ready for a race.
Give me a race. Show me a race.
Yeah, I had absolutely no idea. But when my children were about 1 or 2 years old, maybe 3, I started running because it's the easiest thing. When you've got small children, you put your shoes on and you go and run around the block.
Yeah.
And then a friend of mine said, come and run with the athletics club. There's the Ash Grove Rangers here in town. And I thought, it was a very nerdy thing to do, but okay. And I started getting ribbons in their little cross country flying 4, and I thought, that tastes like more. And I realized that competitive edge that you feel, and it's got nothing to do with beating other people. Yeah, winning is icing on the cake, but it is all about self-improvement. See how good you can get. See how fast you can get. See. How things work. Yeah. And so that really launched me into running. And I started cross country, with Queensland Athletics. And first I came last, almost, or perhaps I did. Yeah. Can't remember. But then I started running more often. And it is interesting because I was over 35. I was in this little masters group. And I used to affectionately call it the old Chooks team. And the slowest person in there, I thought, she's just slow. But what I didn't realize, her name is Heather Barrelette. She was 3 times national champs on the 800 meters in the 80s. She would have she was just a 2-minute 800-meter person, like absolutely
brilliant,
and very experienced. And I realized also with her husband and some other club members how good the depth of the knowledge of a club like that is. And it ended up that they put me in the cross-country team for the state champs for the club, and I came dead last. And it was 2004, and I decided, I can do better than that. And that's when I started training. And I had the fortune to sort of be picked out by Nikki Carroll. She was 2:24 marathon runner, won the Paris Marathon.
Wow.
Has done absolutely amazing things. And her partner, Don Wallace, who's done gold medals in the Comrades Marathon twice. And then Graham Barrellet, who was the mountain runner, very experienced, and John Purcell, the club coach. So between all those people, I really learned from the best.
The best,
Nikki took me under her wing, and she taught me how to train, how to how to put a training program together. I ran along with Don, with some frighteningly fit guys on Sunday mornings. And I ended up coming third in the 6-foot track, just cold, and that used to be the national trail run at the time.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, well, that's really good.
That's
and I won the
amazing.
national mountain running champs after that. And people like Graham, he would help me prepare getting ready for the world champs and things like that. So, they were really very good experiences, very great community. And anyone who wants to get good at running, I go and join an athletics club. Because if you're as lucky as I am, then you find some people who are very willing to share their experiences. But the love of what I did. I was also good at stair running, but I don't like concrete dust. But was mountain running.
Yeah, being outside. Yeah.
And of course, the favorite race ever is Pomona King of the Mountain.
Yes,
and
very famous.
That is such a legendary race. It is short and sharp. It's the fourth Sunday in July every year. It's changed a bit with COVID, perhaps, but it is really good up and down Mount Karura. And if you win that, you go over to New Zealand and you race a race there.
Did you win that one year? Is that a reflection?
I won it 5 times.
5 times, there you go, yeah.
But
it's so fantastic.
But it is really good. Very, very nice experiences. But I don't know why I'm good at it, but there's always a good improvement. And yes, with the help of people who know a lot, because that also sets your norm. If this is the expectation, then, and if that's normal, then you go for that. If it is like this, you go for that. So it's true. Actually really quite. So a lot of is in the mindset.
I was going to say, because I imagine they mentored you through how to run training schedules, but also there'll be a lot around food and nutrition, and I imagine there's a lot about injury recovery or prevention as well as mindset. That is really important. I was perhaps not really the best in terms of nutrition. Now, when I will be training full on, and my kids loved it, I wouldn't go to bed without chocolate cake and ice cream. Oh, fantastic!
I would otherwise wake up in the middle of the night going,
I'm hungry.
Kids didn't mind.
No, they would have loved that.
And and nutrition is really important. But what happens is that you eat better usually the fitter you get. And the fitter I get, usually the more peanut butter I eat.
The fats.
And I'm not the only athlete in terms in those terms. That you need to be very careful. The real challenge, I think, is when you're sort of at the top of your game. And I say sort of because there's always better. there are always different disciplines that have got more competition. And that is one of the things. On the one hand, it is really good to keep that in perspective. On the other hand, it is always good to keep that in mind, to say, well, yeah, there's always better.
There's always something else.
There's always something else. But the challenge is to stay out of injury and to stay healthy. So when I won the Australian Mountain Running Champs, I went into a cycle of colds and being sick. And in the end, I was actually I did a pyramid race in North Queensland. And Graham took me to the airport, and I was in tears because it was just before before the World Champs, and I said, well, I don't really know if I should go because I was sick
So
again.
sick. Yeah.
And it's very bad to run when you're sick. But but he said, come on, know if you get another chance. And I had a few more chances after that, which was really great. But staying healthy is a really good thing. And I think that is one of the reasons why it's really important to have a good coach. Coaches help you, they guide you, but they also, that trust relationship is really important because they can say no.
It's time to pull up.
Because
take a break.
because an athlete always wishes themselves, oh, the injury is not that bad.
Yeah, we're right.
Okay.
Come on, I'll make it.
My cold is eased. It's all fine.
Yeah.
And then you plunge yourself into
Further
trouble
depths
again.
of trouble. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's always a little bit of a challenge. But yeah, and
And the World Championships, they must have been something else. Like, where were they held? Because you competed in so many.
that's just an absolutely wonderful experience. The first ones were in Switzerland, and I was underprepared, and it is just
Great
really
learning.
good. Yeah, but every time, and it is perhaps because I didn't really expect to win, is that when you're at the start line, it is a wonderful sensation, because if you can shake everything off and you can say, really doesn't matter what has happened in the past. It really doesn't matter how well I've trained. It really doesn't matter what led up to this. But now is the moment. And no matter what, I'll just give it my best. I've got a strategy on how to execute the race. And I'm just going to do that. I'm going to do the best of my ability and not let any doubts or anything leave me behind. Now I'm leaving those behind, and that it is wonderful to compete. And I've always really, really enjoyed it. Last time,
what a great mindset at the start line. To have that, it just clears you completely, and then you're just focusing on the race.
Yeah, and
yep.
it is
not on anyone else, not on times, nothing. Just implementing the strategy and going.
Yeah, and that is really good. I was not at the pointy end of the race, but that's where it comes in. There's always better, and mind you, there are athletes who have more time, and so. But there are athletes who don't have time, and they train
and they go
incredibly hard. Well. But yeah, the hard I wanted to say, but the hard is not necessarily smart. So smart training keeps you out of injury and builds you up. Yeah.
Talking about injury, how do you go when you are injured? How do you cope with that, and how do you get through that? I mean, you're injured now, like you were saying that you've got some arthritis in your hip, which is
that is very that is really a thing to get to terms with.
Yeah.
It is hard at times, and but it is also a time that you can find alternatives. For example, I started swimming a fair bit, and that was good.
Because of your arthritis, is that why?
Yeah, I started with inflammation with bursitis.
Yeah,
and it was really very hard. I could hardly walk, and so swimming was the thing that I could do, and then you realize that that running is of course really addictive, because if you're naturally good at it, it is
So
very, if you
addictive,
go to sport. But there are many other elements why you like that sport. It is the meditative time you have while you're out running and you do your training. It is the improvement. It is all that type of stuff. And it is being out in nature, because that is so relaxing. That is so nice, so good for the soul. Also, when you're with other people, of course, it is really good. That was the problem with swimming. You can't really talk and swim at the same time.
Yeah, you've just got the lanes.
I managed.
Same environment.
No, I would. I would
open
swim,
swimming. Oh,
yeah.
great.
And I would take my dog, and I managed to sort of talk to her while I would do freestyle.
Oh, that's
very,
cool.
very, very quick. Hello.
So your dog would swim right beside you on lakes, and whereabouts were you swimming?
Sometimes
Oceans, lakes, yeah.
So no, that was just really.
What a lovely
nice.
life for the dog.
Yeah. That's very
Yeah.
nice. So those sorts of things, and then you realize there's much more to it, and you can, and it is coming to terms with your injury, and you may not be able to run as much as you like, but there is life after you. There are other things to do. And
Well, you're talking like you don't run anymore, but I know you run, and you're doing multiple events at the moment, and volunteering and setting up races as well, which is fantastic. So.
Yeah. I used to be involved in the as a president with the Ashgrove Rangers then, and I would also with the Trail Running Association of Queensland. And I took it over at the time that there was a bit of a dip, and for the first year I think I organised all the races, sort of.
Got them
and I
going.
learned a lot, but it's just so nice to do that. It is really nothing better than seeing people coming over the finish line being very happy with what they've done.
Yeah.
And
Well, you're giving back, aren't you? When you're volunteering that amount of time to set up a race, you're giving your heart and soul and making opportunities for others to experience what you have.
Yeah, and
it's really
volunteering is being part of a community, and it is a very what makes people happy is making other people happy.
Yeah,
That is one of the
so true.
first ways of to happiness, I think.
Yeah.
If you see other people smile because of what you've done, that makes my day.
Intrinsic,
Yeah,
so beautiful.
And so that's a really important point, and also that those community things are really important. We are very business focused generally, and everything. But the community. You're part of a village, and you have different villages nowadays with the things that you do. Yeah, it's important.
Yeah, I think you're right. That's absolutely spot on there. Like, a lot of people aren't doing as much in the community because they're so busy on the treadmill and trying to make money and trying to make ends meet. And so we need
absolutely.
more community engagement, and volunteers make that happen without a doubt.
Yeah,
And
there's a cycle to things. Sometimes you may be a taker on this side, but a giver on the other side.
Yeah.
Sometimes, of course, when you've got everything coming at you, you might be overall a little bit more of a taker rather than. But that compensates also with times that you're more of a giver. That you give a bit more to the community.
Exactly.
And I think that this.
Well, you might be giving
really
to the
cool.
family and different, life stages and different, experiences.
Yeah, because if you have got young children, for sure, you need to focus on that.
Yeah.
And if there are different ways, and it is really nice now. I've got my children have grown up, so I can do all sorts of things.
And well, look at you, you're living in Christchurch, and now I find it really. I just think you're so inspiring, and I'm hoping everyone's picking up on this in this interview. But that you're so adaptable, and it's not about competing with others. It's about improving yourself all the time and stretching yourself and setting goals. Like, it seems like you achieve something and you set another goal, and you get the right mentors around you and the right support, and you love being involved with others. And you seem, even though you can run independently, you love being part of that community, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
But you're always continually improving or adapting. So now you're a bit of a beginner in the sense of you're now dabbling in kayaking. How does that feel after being a master and a world champion in your sport, and then coming back to something that you're tippy and
it is so funny. I thought I was a bit of a kayaker. I thought I could do it. Until I went in October to the New Zealand kayak school for some whitewater paddling course, and I realized that my talent is very, very low. But all the same, you can really enjoy it. And what I'm doing now is really trying to master multi-sport boats. So it's you've got the very short whitewater boats, and you've got the sea kayaks. They're very stable and maybe for tourists. Then you've got the multi-sport boats, which can be really a bit more stable or very unstable. And then you've got the K1s, the super tippy boats for flat water paddling and sprints. I'm doing the multi-sport boat because I've been lucky enough to go into the coast to coast next year, and that is from the west coast to the east coast of New Zealand. It is the World Championships for multisport.
Incredible,
and it is. I really think it is important to have a challenge, and that is my challenge, and it will be a challenge with my hip. But I want to strengthen it and get the biomechanics right. Even though I've got limited movement, but I'll get there. It's going to be good. Yeah.
Tell us more about the coast to coast in New Zealand. So for those who are listening, because we've spoken about it, but for those who are hearing it for the first time, they're going, so this sounds like a really interesting challenge. What is it?
Oh, it is.
It's amazing.
Is absolutely fabulous. There's something called the longest day, and I'll be in that. So there's one day you go from the west coast to the east coast of New Zealand, finishing in Christchurch, and it's run from the beach, get onto your bicycle for about 50, 60 kilometers, then a 33-kilometer run over Arthur's Pass. Yeah, and that is, you think, I can do that in 3 hours or whatever. It is, I've eaten humble pie there in 2018. It took me well over 5 hours. And that also has got to do with age, proprioception, and all that type of stuff. But that was really quite hard. Yeah, and then a bicycle riding in, and then 70 kilometers of downriver kayaking, and then 70 kilometers of cycling into Christchurch. That's roughly what it is.
That's huge.
Yeah,
how
it's
amazing.
Really good fun. There's also the 2-day, and there's a tandem 2-day, and there's some other variations. But it is good
hard
fun.
To get into.
Yeah, it is hard to get into. There's a lottery, and it's good. I'm going to raise funds for New Zealand dementia.
Fantastic.
Because they asked in the form, like, what do you want to raise funds for? And I thought that's a very good cause, because it is really a horrible state. Deterioration of the mind, and I'm very fit and healthy as far as I know. My sister, who's only 5 years older, has been battling cancer for last year. It's a miracle that she's still alive, and on top of that, she's been diagnosed with dementia.
No,
so I thought, it's just horrible.
Yeah.
And I thought, well, that will be a very even though she's in the Netherlands and I'm not raising funds for the things in the Netherlands, I do it here or in New Zealand, and I think that's a good thing.
It's a brilliant thing. Yeah. So how do we support you, Hugh?
I need to set it up.
Yeah.
I'll do it on Facebook.
Absolutely. So how do people contact you? Because I know people will be sitting here listening going, I really want to contribute and help Hugh, and also watch your journey as well. So when is this race?
It is in February, so it's still, and I only just a few days ago heard that I'm in, so I just need to set it up.
Yeah.
So if people know me on Facebook, or you can look me up on Facebook, then
absolutely,
I will make sure that it's accessible to people so that they can start donating.
Yeah.
Because it is a really horrible disease. Well, everyone.
Oh, terrible.
knows it in many different forms as well of it. But so
it's a terrible disease. Debilitating, and it's hard for everyone. The person who has it, and also all the family and friends, and it's really, really tough.
So. Yeah,
it's a great cause. Really, really good.
Yeah. And I think it is about giving it your best in life, and this is a little part of it. And
you do everything you do, Hube, is with a heart, and it's a charitable heart. Everything you do. I've been watching you. It's like I'm doing it. I'm running it for this. I'm just, helping people by doing this event. I'm volunteering my heart and soul. You're not working at the moment because you're spending so much time volunteering in so many events and community.
Yeah,
it's just heart-led, beautiful life. I love it. It's such an inspiration. Yeah.
It's a luxury. It is really good. I resigned from Outdoors Queensland in November, and I loved working there, but it was just I needed to go and do something else, and also because I wouldn't really come back to live here, and it was really great that I could work in New Zealand for Outdoors Queensland.
Yep.
But I resigned, and my biggest thing was to get physically healthy, because it's very important for my mental health as well. So rehabilitation of the hip, and just enjoying summer, because winter was. I found it so hard. So
you've been living in Queensland for how long?
29 years.
Yeah, 29 years going to the side of a mountain in New Zealand. Huge difference.
Yeah, and and then I thought, I'll do some volunteering, and before you know, you're almost full-time busy doing all those sorts of things. Absolutely. I mean, in between doing some other stuff as well.
And again, building a community and being part of that community is just really fantastic.
Yeah, because I do because I volunteer for Arawa Canoe Club in Christchurch, which has got about 700 members, 350 boats in the shed, flat water paddlers, and a lot of multi-sport paddlers, and that is good fun.
That would be taking up a huge amount of time.
Yeah, and I also volunteer for the New Zealand Antarctic Society. They're developing a strategic plan and strategy, and I'm chairing that, which is a fascinating group of people.
Imagine
scientists
and experts
people
in Antarctic
who are grandchildren of explorers and all that type of stuff. And I think that what happens in Antarctica, the science there is because it's such a pristine environment and all sorts of things are going on there. The research and the science driven there is really quite unique, and I think it has got a big implications for the future of our planet. And so I really believe it is important that a society or association like that has got a good voice and really helps with that, with the communication of what science means, climate change, but also the history that goes with having a base there. Australia has got a base there too, in Antarctica. But yeah, that is really very nice too. No, fantastic. I'm not sure if I ever make it to Antarctica because I hate the cold, but it would be a very, very fascinating place to go.
Absolutely. Wow, you're doing so much, and that's, again, just incredible. Yeah,
beautiful environment there.
So a lot of people will be listening to this going, whoa, this woman, Hube, you're just amazing, so diverse. What are some key messages that you'd love to share, like about how to experience life? What would you like to share with our listeners?
I think that everyone has got their contemplative moments, otherwise we wouldn't be human. But never give up in the things that you're strong in. Tinker away with the things that you might be a little bit weaker at. Everyone has got their things. But focus on the strengths and focus on how you can contribute to the future. And via volunteer work, via exploring yourself, the challenges. So if you have an injury, or if you're, and also it is not necessary that you get out of a sport out of injury. It can be something else. But you reinvent yourself. So so athletes, for example, have got, say, it's often an 8-year span that they come year after year, they build up, and then they are really very good, and they feel, well, this is as good as it gets, or there's something else shiny, let's chase that.
Yeah.
So you can compare it to a life cycle, and you can use that experience again for other things. For example, with the kayak club, at first when I joined, I thought, well, what can I add there? But there are big parallels between sports, of course, on how you train, on the mindset of athletes. It is interesting, say, flat water paddling, you can compare to track racing, and
Absolutely,
the multi-sport more towards, say, trail running. And the cultures are also similar, and so you can always do different things. And I think it is also when you get older, adapt to that. I mentioned that doing boulder hopping and river crossings on that Arthur's Pass thing of the coast to coast, it's really, really challenging.
Absolutely.
In Pomona, it's very steep down, especially downhill. I can't do it really anymore. I don't know if it's because I'm weaker, but I think there's also something in the mind that changes, and that it's so just harder when you're older to do that. You adapt.
Yeah.
So do other things. I'm saying I love the bum sports at the moment. So cycling and kayaking.
Bum sports, I love it.
And so
things you can sit down on.
Yeah. And I think you're never too old to do something. You don't have to be right at the top. So I venture into orienteering. I haven't focused on it enough to be good at it, but so went to the New Zealand National Championships and try not to come last. But that is really good because you develop different perspectives and you understand participants better, and what it is to be at the bottom and what it is to be near the top.
Yeah,
and
it's great experience.
Yeah, this is really good.
And we can't be experts as soon as we jump into something new. You can't expect to be an expert. It takes time and mastery and dedication.
And it was actually interesting because the national championships were sprint canoeing, so flat water paddling was just a week and a half ago. And there was a man, the whole complex where we held the event is named after him, Rob Wardell.
Wow.
He's a rower, America's Cup person, and multiple Olympian, and so a huge, fantastic sports person.
Absolutely.
His son kayaks, so he decided, say, 7 weeks ago to also start. And so he entered in the novices. He came second last possibly, but that to me is a true champion. Is a person who is not afraid of just giving something else a go, and not afraid of coming last or doing. And that is, to me, that is really very very meaningful and a great example to everyone. You never. You can always give it a go.
Absolutely. I love that message. And if that's the one message that everyone takes away with them today, that's absolutely perfect. It's about adaptability, giving it a go, and also morphing yourself through your life cycle. You know, things are always going to change. You may be injured. You may find a new community that you find, wow, this is really inspiring. I'm going to be at the bottom of the run in the races, but I can learn from others. It's just fantastic. Keeps you going. Love that message. It's great.
Absolutely. It is, because you never give up.
No, never give up. Well, it's just continual, isn't it? It's a continual cycle.
Yeah.
Oh, Hugh, it's been absolutely wonderful. I'm very mindful of time. The guys are sort of at the back there going, yep. It's been absolutely fantastic having you on the show today. You're amazing. I could listen to you for hours, and I've got so many more questions, but I'm mindful that we do have to wrap it up. So thank you so much.
I really thank you. It's been so wonderful to be here, and I love to catch up with you before I leave again.
And for those who want to catch up with you, please reach out on Facebook.
Yeah.
Very easy to find, and you'll just be... Even just watching you is inspiring. You know, people are going to put sneakers on after this, guaranteed, and go for a walk or a run if they're not runners already. And I wish you all the very best in the World Championships that you will enter in. I'm sure there'll be more, and also the Coast to Coast next year will be fantastic.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thanks, Hugh, and thanks for all you do. It's amazing.
Yeah, it's really good.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Yay.
Thank you. Yay.
Hey legends, I hope you're really enjoying the show. We love bringing it to you. Please support us, subscribe, like all our social media platforms, and please reach out and donate through buymeacoffee.com/wild and fearless. We really appreciate it. Have an awesome day.